Hi, everyone. Welcome, and thanks for joining us for Stars of Franchising.
Get ready for a roller coaster ride through the world of franchising as we bring you the best stories of inspiration and entrepreneurial grit and turning dreams into franchise realities.
That's right, Vinny. From emerging to global brands, we'll chat with the genius minds behind the magic. All brought to you by the Tariq Farid Franchise Institute at Babson College. I'm Ab.
And I'm Vini. Now, buckle up for some serious inspiration.
Really excited for today's guest, Jeff Klein, who is not only an incredible entrepreneur, but a Babson alum. And we're so proud of Jeff and so happy that he's here and willing to share his story. Hey, Jeff, welcome.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, it's great. Let's kick it off with what we usually like to do here at Babson and on our podcast is get to know who you are, what your why is, what caused you to do what you do, and a little bit of your story around entrepreneurship and then franchising.
Got it. So great. Thank you. So, as you know, I graduated Babson in 1991. And I think that coming out of school, the entrepreneur spirit just stuck with me. I took a different path. I started in a family business. I was the fourth generation. And my family scrap iron demolition business. And my great-great-grandfather started in 1898.
Wow.
And in 1998, we turned 100. And I decided to do something different. And my wife and I decided to leave Ohio and move to Las Vegas. And it just was. I mean,
Sorry, Jeff, we lost you. We lost you for about 10 seconds.
Okay, you got him now? We can hear him now.
Yep, I'm back.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Should we start all over or just go back to where he thinks he... Hold on one second.
I mean, I know I got the scrapyard piece.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeff, I don't know if your connection or whatever, the audio just disappeared for a second, but...
Maybe start with...
No, I think what happened is my phone rang.
That's it.
And I don't know. I wonder if I go into airplane mode.
Yeah.
No. If you throw on.
Oh, do not disturb. Oh, yeah.
Do not disturb.
Where do I do that at?
You could do.
Where's that at? Oh, focus. Oh, yeah. Yep. Focus. Is that it?
No.
Do not disturb is on now. Okay. Perfect.
That should do it.
So maybe just start back
perfect.
with you and your wife moving to Vegas.
Got it. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Okay, so my wife's a physician, and we decided to leave the cold weather of Ohio. And she said, "Look, I can move anywhere in the world, pick a spot." And we decided to go to Las Vegas. And I started out in the gaming industry, where I was a casino host at the Hard Rock Hotel. And one of my big players asked me one day. He said, "Hey, look, you're really great at sales, but you're working graveyard shift. You out of this. Somebody puts a plate in their jaw." When they break their jaw, I put a plate in it to fix it. And if you want to sell that product, I can get you the sales job. And within about 30 days, I left the gaming industry and got into medical device sales. And about a year later, a buddy of mine called me and said, "Hey, the mortgage business in Las Vegas is taking off. I think you should, we want to start a mortgage company. So do you want to get involved?" And I said, "Sure." So I gave a guy 15 grand, a buddy of mine, and three of us started a mortgage company. And I started doing mortgage loans. I was a mortgage broker.
Wow.
And while my competition in the OR was trying to sell a better product, doctors were asking me about rates.
Yeah.
And so it was a great competitive advantage for me.
Wow.
Sometime in 2007, late 2007, a buddy called me and said, "Hey, I am looking to buy a restaurant. I want to get a home equity line of credit on my house. Can you help me?" And I said, "Let me look." And it just turned out the market just wasn't right. Couldn't get the value of his house. But I said, "Look, we've been friends a while. Why don't we partner up? There's a bank trying to get my wife's practice business. Let me see if they'll do a loan for us." And in May of 2008, we bought our first Capriottis.
Wow.
And I was still selling medical devices, doing a loan here and there, and was a silent partner in one location. And
did you know the brand before? Did you know the brand?
I did know the brand.
Okay.
I did. It was funny. He said, "Hey, have you ever heard of Capriottis?" I said, "Of course. Every doctor's office in town wants to eat that." So I catered there 2 or 3 days a week. So it just worked. and it just was a funny thing. So I was a silent investor. I never went in there. I continued to sell medical devices. A year later, a second store came available, and I went from one bank to the other bank. A month later, a third location came available. We went to the third bank, and I kept playing the banks against each other.
Right.
And over time, by 2011, we had grown to 16 stores.
Wow.
And in 2000, and I continued to sell medical devices all along. I helped out the development side. I would look for locations. We had branched out into the Los Angeles market.
Got it.
And built some stores there. And Labor Day weekend of 2013, my partner and I at the time had a challenge, and we split up. And in May of 14, I woke up one morning going from 16 stores with a partner who was operating them to I had 13, and I was operating them myself. And so May of 14, basically, I left my medical device career and started in Capriotti's.
Wow.
And over that time frame, I have bought stores, built stores, sold stores, closed stores, sued landlords, been sued by landlords, have done it all. And so currently, fast forward, I am now out of the Los Angeles market, and I am in the Las Vegas market and also in the Salt Lake City market. And so I currently operate 14 locations.
Wow.
I'm their largest franchisee, and I am currently the president of the Franchise Advisory Council.
Got it.
Well, Jeff, maybe a nice question to follow this might be, what was your biggest failure in all of this? Your journey so far in the franchise world, and what did you take from it?
Well, look, there's basically two. The first one being, the challenge that I ran into with my partner. I didn't know enough, and I let somebody, I was basically just a silent partner,
right,
and did not have my hands around enough information and didn't know enough. I knew enough to be dangerous, but not enough to kind of watch myself in doing that. And it basically turned me into a, now I just dig in everywhere I can, and every number I can get a hold of, I'm analyzing. But, the largest single failure was, when COVID hit, I decided, hey, I got an opportunity to invest in a mobile vet business, which was a franchise. And what a great idea. You don't have to bring your pet to the vet's office.
Right.
We send a vet and a vet technician to your house and take care of all the things that you would need to do up until an animal needed x-rays. And what a great idea. And I used it. I used the service myself, and I thought it was a great idea. And at the time, we had 3 vets, and we took over an operation that was fledgling a little bit, and put some money in. And within 90 days, all 3 vets quit, and I realized, you know what? I'm not a vet, so I can't do this business. So we had to shut it down.
Wow.
So that was a good lesson for me, and kind of stick with what you know.
Yeah.
And so. I know that in the morning I can go in with myself, my wife, or either of my 2 kids, and open up a Capriotti's and run the store just with 2 of us.
Right.
And so, that kind of, it's what, kind of helps. And I think it makes sense to kind of, stick in that sense. I do have one location of the Gents Place, which is a franchise. It's an upscale men's grooming lounge. And even that, it's a very successful business. We're doing very well. We have one location in Las Vegas. I had gotten into a bad mindset with Capriotti's 4 or 5 years ago, and I decided I want to diversify out of food. And I tried to buy the Sports Clips franchises in Las Vegas, and that didn't work out for me. And I was speaking at the multi-unit franchise show, and after the show, the guy came up to me and said, "Hey, you're the guy in Vegas who wanted to buy the Sport Clips locations. I know it didn't work out for you, but if you still want to get into this space, you got to come to the show and meet the Gents Place." And Emmett Smith and Jerry Jones are the money behind them.
Gotcha.
And voila, now I have one location.
Wow.
Great.
Well, maybe along this same line, Jeff, what would you say people understand the most about franchising?
Well, I think, I think people think it is plug and play. And I advertise it. So when somebody asks me, hey, what do you love about franchising? I say, it's plug and play.
Right.
Okay. But I think it's also a myth because, they have a system. They have metrics. There's a very thick document called the FDD, which nobody reads. I pay an attorney to read it for me. But I think that people think it's plug and play. Like, oh, I have some money, I have some business experience. Let me buy myself a job and run a franchise. And in some senses, that is true. That's the American dream. That's what franchising really is.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's the myth, because if you buy into the wrong system, if you are not capable of doing, those things that are required on a daily basis. I mean, I work 24/7, 7 days a week. I am never not working. The only time I'm not working is if I'm on a flight and I'm lucky enough that the Wi-Fi's out.
Yes.
And if I'm lucky enough the Wi-Fi's out, that is like an hour flight. I go back and forth between Salt Lake City a lot. It's an hour flight. That's an hour of heaven where nobody can bother me. I don't have to turn my phone on. Other than that, you're always working.
Right.
Wow.
Well, that's a perfect transition, because you're obviously an operator since you made that realization, right, to be involved, or you had to. Talk to us a little bit about what makes for the best franchisor and franchisee. I think you alluded a little bit on franchisee, knowing your numbers, knowing the business, but can you talk a little bit from your perspective, Jess? What's a great franchisor like from your experience, and what are some attributes of a great franchisee and that relationship?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think that the franchisee-franchisor relationship is absolutely key. Okay, and I have been with Capriotti 15 years, so I have a relationship where if I need something, I call the president of the company. I text him. Yeah. I have that unique situation. What I look for in a franchisor is when I speak to them. I go to the multi-unit show every year. It's in Vegas, so it makes it easy. Mm-hmm. I ask them, what's the most important thing for you in franchising? And if they do not say unit level economics, I run.
Yes.
I run. Unit level economics has to be the most important. Let me rephrase that. Franchisee unit level economics has to be the most important thing that a franchisor thinks about. If they don't, it doesn't work. Because if I can't make money, I can't grow. And look, I have a wide range of stores. I was very fortunate last month to close a store that when COVID hit, because of my lease, I lost money every single month since COVID started. 36 months in a row, I lost money in a store. And so the franchisor helped me out there with the royalty stream and things like that. But I think that, the relationship with the franchisor, look, they rely heavily on this franchise disclosure document, known as the FDD. Mm-hmm. And they, some of them have what's called Item 19, which is their financial disclosures. And I really represent myself basically as Item 19. People call me all the time. I'm an open book. I send QuickBooks files. I send P&Ls. I have stores that make money. I have stores that lose money. Well, not anymore, but I did. Yeah. And so I think that, I probably didn't answer your question the way you wanted me to, but franchisor, it's important. It's important to have the franchisor behind you, because it's not perfect. And when things happen, when things go bad, you need the franchisor's help. And so, Capriotti's has been amazing. And, I bought 3 stores in Utah a year ago, and the staffing was miserable. I mean, I was driving 45 minutes every day at lunch rush making sandwiches. Wow. And when it got a little difficult, they sent a training crew out to help me. Wow. And so just little things like that are I think the relationship is really important. You have to find somebody that you can get along with, because, I didn't come up with this, but, you're told once you sign your lease, once you sign your franchise agreement, if you ever have to go back and read it again, you're in trouble. Right. Exactly. If you ever have to pull those documents out of a drawer, you're in trouble.
Right. Well, no, you did answer it. That's exactly right. That we've heard it from many others, which is the franchisee and its unit economics are the most important thing, at least from the best franchisor's perspective. So that's great advice for folks coming in. Well, how about on the franchisee side? You're a good operator. You're part of the advisory council. Talk a little bit about either any operators you've learned from or been inspired from, or what advice you give to franchisees that are looking to up their game a little bit.
Look, I'm very lucky. I have a director of operations that would drive his car through the window of my office if I asked him to. And so, I met a couple guys 10 years ago on a trip, 2 very successful large Midwest Burger King franchisees. Mm-hmm. And they gave me two pieces of advice. They said, A, don't ever be afraid to close a store that's losing money. And B, pay your top two people a lot of money. So that allows you to grow and do things. And so I've been very, very lucky with my team. I have a gentleman that works for me that runs my is the director of operations, has been with me for 15 years, has been with Capriotti's for, I think, 17 or 18 years.
Wow.
And I think that, in today's day and age, it's really hard. It's hard to do, but you've got to surround yourself with good people. You have to surround yourself with good, high quality talent, especially today, especially since the pandemic. I mean, I don't want to say it was easier back then, but it was easier.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff.
I think,
Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I listen.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I think that, pre-pandemic, it was much easier to kind of find some talent. Today, I think it's a little bit, it's obviously much more difficult based on the current climate. And so I try and find as best I can.
And then maybe you talked about the pandemic and the challenge it presented. What was the major innovation that you witnessed during the pandemic? And how is that going to play out just looking into the future?
Well, look, each area was different. Las Vegas, they shut our dining rooms down. And so basically overnight, once, a couple weeks into it, once the third-party delivery systems got set up more efficiently, our sales were up 25%, our labor was down in half.
Yeah.
So, we had no dining rooms. We had no, it was, the pandemic financially for our industry was phenomenal. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, we took advantage of it.
Wow.
And so for Capriotti's, for my entities, I don't think there was a lot of crazy technical innovation. We have the third parties, Uber Eats, Grubhub's, those type of things. But look, we have, we turned stores that were 10% takeout to 40 or 50% takeout. Yeah. What's enabled us to do is, as we develop new locations, I don't need 1,500 feet anymore. I can operate in 1,200 feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it allows me to have a smaller footprint of a store and still command the same sales volume because people just are not sitting in the restaurant as much as they were pre-pandemic.
Wow.
Got it. Well, you alluded to it a little. Go ahead.
So now, robots are coming.
Yeah.
And so, we have seen the videos of the robots making wings and the robots making pizzas. And, so I think that's something that was born out of the pandemic, but, I think that's coming.
And when that comes, maybe if you want to, Jeff, if I may push you to look into the future a bit, what will franchising look like, especially in your industry, when you have those technology advancement coming in, like robots, artificial intelligence, machine learning into your industry? What would that look like?
Well, it's interesting. So I was at a franchise conference this weekend, and maybe I'm just behind the times, but I had my first introduction to ChatGPT.
Oh yeah.
And the AI universe, and there was a 1 hour. The first session in the morning on Friday was about it. I was blown away.
Yeah.
And talked about what it was like to be. Talked about in our industry what it is. Look, I think that you're going to have robots making food. You're going to have robots cooking food, and they've had robots making cars for years. And I have seen the machine that makes the wings, and you drop the frozen wings in the thing, and it weighs them out. And it tells you how many you have, and it fries it for you and drops it in a basket. I think that's gonna come. I think that I hope that it makes it easier on us. I mean, when you are working with large numbers of employees like I am, it's difficult. You have somebody calling in every single day, and sadly, I think that the younger generation, there's a paradigm shift in the, I like to use the word grit, or work ethic, I guess you could say, but it's more of a grit and what it takes to kind of get to where you want to be.
Wow.
So technology may help certain aspects of the labor piece of the franchise model. That's fascinating. Well, let's talk a little bit about entrepreneurship and franchising, and what does franchising have to do with entrepreneurship, and that myth that it's because you get the quote unquote plug and play that it's not necessarily entrepreneurial. What do you say to that?
Oh, I disagree. I think that, self-employment and entrepreneurship to me kind of run hand in hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. At least to start. So you can develop your own business, and you could be the founder. Founder seems to be a big word being thrown around lately. If you're the founder of the business, and then you can sell your business and still be part of the business and then work for somebody, but you're still entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
And you're still helping the business grow. I mean, I am, Gordon Gekko looked at 1,000 deals a day. He chose one. I mean, I'm looking at franchises constantly.
Yeah.
Now, old Jeff, 10, 12 years ago, Jeff would probably have jumped at a few more. I used to go through the multi-unit show and bring home stacks of paper. My wife was like, "You can't do that. You can't buy a truck that has a golf course simulator in it just because you want to use it, or a truck that's got 30 video games in it for kids for birthday party. You got to kind of let it. You got to kind of, maybe you'll get invited to that party that has it, but you can't think you could be all those things."
Right. Sounds like the franchise bug. Love it.
Jeff, you were in sales for many years, and I would even dare to say you are still in sales. Okay.
Absolutely.
So what
I was 100% commission sales.
Okay. Okay. So Jeff, what did you take from being in sales, and how did it help you in getting to where you are today, and what you are trying to do in the future as well?
Well, look, I think luck takes a big part of it. I believe you make your own luck, but I've been very, very, very fortunate, very lucky. I can trace my success and failures back to like single instances of people that I've met or situations that have happened. But I think that, I go back to the entrepreneurship piece of it. That, look, when you're in sales, I was, I had to call on customers. It was my business. I had my own business. I had a quota I had to meet, but I had to go call on these customers, and I had to go build a business. I had to make a business plan. SWOT analysis. That was a big, kind of getting away from that today, but that was a big piece of it. We had annual planning, and you had goals you had to meet, and so that's still entrepreneurship. I mean, even though I got a paycheck from a company, it was still my own. It was still my own business. I don't want to not equate it to punching a clock. Going into an office every day and you're working at a bank, you're punching a clock. I think that you either have this goofy spirit or you don't.
Yeah.
You either chase it or you don't. And so I think that's a big piece. And also I think that Babson, I guess I could say we win the award every year because we're really good at it. And we're great at it. And people go to Babson, and if they don't have that spirit, you are around people that do. I mean, my three best relationships that came out of Babson, my three best friends from school that I still talk to weekly, sometimes daily, depending on the time, what's happening. They all came into school. They all had their own business when they started school. One guy was selling T-shirts. One guy, my best friend had a condom machines in the dormitories. And they all had this. And so you kind of learn it then. I left. I went to work for my family business for 10 years. I was not able to entrepreneur as much as I wanted to at the time, but since 2000, it's at every second.
Wow.
Love it.
Of the day I'm doing it.
Wow.
I love it. In true Babson fashion. You mentioned something earlier.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you expand on for our audience, especially, the importance, as you referenced, of the franchisor-franchisee relationship and partnership. Can you talk a little bit about and explain how a advisory council works and this kind of sharing of things that's in many franchisees' DNA, and even with sharing with franchisor? Thanks.
Yeah, so Franchise Advisory Council is an elected position. I don't have a lot of experience in a lot of brands, but the way Capriotti's works is, they split the country up into 3 territories. I think they just added a 4th, and you're elected. You run for position. They have elections, and right now we have 5 members, of the advisory council, 2 on the West Coast, 2 on the East Coast, and 1 in the Midwest. I believe they added somebody in the mountain region. And basically once a quarter, we have a all hands on meeting with the senior leadership team and the franchisor team. And it used to be years ago, it was, at least at Capriotti's, they got us together and they told us what they were going to do, and that was really it. But as the system has grown, they have made it more of a, hey, here's what we want to do, give us some input. And so we now have some input into the system of things that that we want to do. I have been involved in the Franchise Advisory Council community for probably 10 years, as the system grew. I got off it, pre-pandemic to give some other people a chance to get on it. And recently somebody dropped off in January. They named me to be back on the council. And then immediately the first meeting, they all voted me in as the president. And, there's not a crazy amount of responsibility that I have, but it's more of, I want to be a resource for people coming in.
Okay.
Because I have 15 years experience, and I have failed. I mean, I have built stores and had to close them because they did not, I lost money. And, I want to make sure that one of the responsibilities that I feel that I have is I want to make sure that the franchise community thrives and can be supported and can, for lack of better words, make money and make enough money to build the next store and to build the next store. So I feel kind of responsibility about that, because I get phone calls from people that want to get into the brand. I mean, our food is very, very, very good. Our food is, we have sandwich that's award winning, and our food is very unique. And when people come to Las Vegas, there's 40 plus stores in the Las Vegas area. I get a lot of phone calls from people saying, hey,
Gotcha.
I tried your sandwich and it was really good, and my brother's uncle's going to liquidate his 401k, and my cousin's getting out of jail next week, and he's going to run the store for me because he worked in a prison kitchen. And I have to tell these people no. And so, with the Franchise Advisory Council, it allows me to one, I have access to some information at the franchisor level that maybe I wouldn't have. And I can disseminate that, and I can bring that down to the community. And there, one of the things we're working on is, we're required by the franchisor to send in our P&Ls monthly. And it's just crazy that we have like a 65% through rate on that. And one of my jobs is to get a hold of these people that aren't doing it, find out why, and convince them to do it, so they don't get defaulted where they, they don't realize their franchise agreement requires it of it. But it's a good thing, and it helps with the benchmarking, and we're able to find a better insurance company for the entire brand that saves us money. But I think the council is a nice thing. We have quarterly meetings, but the 5 members of the current council, we meet now monthly ourselves, just the 5 of us.
Great.
And we just talk about issues. We're in different parts of the country. We are not competitive threats. We are, we're friends, and we talk a lot about issues that are going on in our stores, so that we can then, get them out to the community and see, what happens. A lot of the great innovations in franchising have come from franchisees.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
The Egg McMuffin is the greatest example of it. I mean, that was designed by a franchisee that was hungry and wanted to make something in the morning for breakfast and developed it. And so I think that the council, when I was on it for years, was just, I'm on a franchise advisory council, great. I think now it's a body that makes sense for us. And I hope to be able to, use my 15 years experience to help new franchisees coming in, and also foster existing franchisees and see how we can make, more money. The bottom line is we want to make more money. That's it. I mean, let's not fool ourselves here. We're here to make money. Most of us, including myself, have debt. I have loans to pay, and I need to make money to be able to do that.
Jeff, if you have a group of, students at different, maybe undergrads, graduate students, MBA students, and they are thinking of going into franchising, what would be your advice to this group?
Well, it's funny. I have, it's changed. So if you had asked me this question 3 weeks ago, I would have given you a different answer.
Really?
But I think that, it's funny because I have, now that I'm the president of this council, I'm getting calls from people, and I have a gentleman whose son is about to graduate with his MBA, and he wants to buy his son a territory to build Capriotti's. And I asked him, who's going to run it?
Yeah.
And he said, well, my son's an MBA, and he's, and I said, well, has he ever washed dishes? Has he ever,
made a sandwich?
Yeah. I mean, you remember the old commercial, time to make the donuts.
Right.
The guy get up at 4:00 in the morning. I mean, there's a lot of that involved.
Yeah.
I think that as an undergraduate student, go get a job at a sandwich shop. Go get a job at a pizza shop. Go get a job at a gas station. Mm-hmm. All these places are, 7-Eleven is, franchise. Okay. And get some experience doing that. I think that there's nothing greater than having the hands-on experience.
Yeah.
Okay. When I woke up one morning in May of 2014, I had made a sandwich I went in the store, but I'd never really run a restaurant. Okay. I did not have to go through the formal training because I had a partner that did it. Yeah. And that's what it was. When you sign on now today, you have to have a general manager, and you have to you come to Las Vegas and you go through 30 days of training. And so, an MBA coming out maybe has a different experience, maybe has some background in it. But no matter who you are, you absolutely must have a seasoned, that industry expert working with you. Okay, I know restaurants, and so that's what I have. I mean, so there's a great franchise called Chicken Salad Chick.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I am.
I love their I love their food. They're fantastic, but they are growing very, very, very sadly methodically.
Yeah,
and they have not yet come west of Denver. And so I had looked at doing a few stores with them in Denver, and they said, Jeff, look, great, no problem, but you're going to move to Denver. And I said, no, I'm not moving to Denver. And they said, okay, then you're going to have an operating partner, someone with equity in excess of 10% in your team that is an operating partner that lives in Denver and runs those restaurants. And so I said, look, I can't find that. I don't know anyone in Denver, nor I'm not sure I would trust anyone to do this with. Let's wait till you come to Las Vegas. And so I would kind of give the same advice to somebody going out. I mean, you have to have an operating partner that knows the industry. I don't care if it's what it is, tires, paint. Yeah. I mean, there's a billion franchises, that type of thing. I think it's really important. And, people talk about, I can go, you can buy yourself a job.
Yeah.
So, you could buy yourself a job. I mean, I had a Capriotti's in Culver City, California. I had one left that I was able to sell, and the manager was making about $50,000 a year. The store made about $50,000 a year, and so look, if you wanted to buy the business, you could basically be an owner operator, make yourself $100,000 a year.
Yeah, interesting. Well, we've had a lot of discussion and people weigh in on the intersection of franchise ownership and entrepreneurship and social impact, right? And supporting a community in different ways that many people may not realize since you're an entrepreneur. Can you just shed a little light on, impact the franchisees make in their communities, and maybe as a franchisee, how you can, advance, diversity efforts and getting more people involved in the brands, or however you view that kind of subject area?
Yeah, it's interesting. So depending on where I am, Las Vegas is kind of an anomaly with us because there's so many locations in Las Vegas, and we have so many owners.
Yeah.
So I think we're up to 9. I think we're up to 9 franchisees right now.
Wow.
When I got in the system, there were 30 stores and there were 19 franchisees.
Got it.
And so look, we are constantly donating food. Yeah. Okay, constantly. Sadly, through the pandemic, the health department in Clark County, you're not allowed to. Our bread comes fresh. Yeah, our bread comes fresh every day. I can't give it away. Wow. There's just certain, there's a health department piece of it. But look, we do, we're a small brand. Okay. I know that I think tomorrow is Jersey Mike's Giving Day, where Danny DeVito is going to be slicing meats. Yeah. We do what we can. Yeah. And we donate where we can. I don't really turn down anybody.
Yeah. That's great.
My son is a pretty accomplished DJ because he got a summer job working at the Boys and Girls Club here in Las Vegas. And when Dwayne calls me, I give him anything he wants, any sandwiches he wants, any trays, donations, whatever they want. I try and do as much as I can with them.
Right. Good stuff.
Wow.
Andy.
And I think that on the diversity piece of it, look, we, in our industry, we are hiring anybody that really wants to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I think it's hard, when you are hiring for a, let's face it, $10 to $12 an hour job. It's supposed to be kind of your starting job. It's supposed to be kind of your foray into employment to see kind of, wow, this is work. And it's hard work. It's not easy.
Right. Well,
okay, it's not easy.
Yeah. I mean, in your example of some of your employees being involved for 15 plus years can hopefully shed light as a pathway for folks, and then maybe even store ownership.
Look, I brag about a few things. One of them is everyone loves working for Jeff Klein.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's true. I have a lot of longtime employees, and for the longest time, pre-pandemic, I didn't hire managers. I developed managers.
Yeah.
And I promoted from within, and it was a recruiting strength of ours where, we said, look, if you want to grow here, look at these 5 store managers I have. All of them started with me at $8 an hour making subs.
That's great.
And we developed them. And it's funny you mentioned about, owning someone owning a store. I kind of have this deal with my operations director and his wife, who both have worked for me for 15 years. The greatest thing that's going to happen to me is one day he comes to me and says, Jeff, look, I'm leaving and I want to buy 3 of your stores.
Yeah. Great.
That's kind of that would culminate from a guy that was making $7.75 an hour.
Wow.
And who now will have, and he will absolutely have an opportunity one day to be a store owner.
That's incredible.
Jeff, now just to start wrapping up, what current trends do you think will most shape the future of franchising?
Innovation.
Wow.
Innovation. I think innovation is a big piece of it. It's kind of twofold because as a franchisee, I don't really get to innovate.
Yeah.
And so, anything that I come up with, the franchisor now, because we are seen in our Capriotti system as being very, very top tier operators, I have the ability to go to the franchisor and say, hey, look, why don't we try this?
Yeah.
Or here's something we've been doing.
Right.
Here's something that we like to try. Can we test this? Something like that. I think innovation is a big piece of it. Look, people, I'm in the food business and I'm in the hair care. Okay. People are always going to need their hair cut. Okay. I don't think there's going to be a different way to do it. Okay. If you want to be like, if you want to go and talk about the Jetsons, maybe you're going to stick your head in something one day and you're going to come out, your hair's going to be done. But I think that robots are going to be a big piece of the food industry. I mean, you're seeing McDonald's do it with the ordering kiosks, that type of thing.
Wow.
Great stuff. What an awesome discussion. And thank you, by the way. I've got the magazine here, that you were in. Appreciate it. You represent.
No, thank you guys. That was great.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you. You represent so much that's, great about Babson, but most importantly, taking advantage of opportunity and acting and innovating and developing leaders. And I think a lot of great advice for our audience. So thank you, Jeff. I'll be out in Vegas hopefully soon, and we'll get together for a sandwich. And we'd love to have you back home here at Babson.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. Please let me know. Yeah, and I'd love to come back anytime. It would be a big honor for me to be able to do that and share my experiences.
By the way, Jeff, this is now okay. We're done with the interview, with the conversation. But I want you to know that here at Babson now, when you were at Babson, there was no courses on sales. Now we have 4. Okay.
Oh wow, that's great.
Because I came in from a sales background. So when I joined Babson, I wanted to build our sales curriculum. So it's growing. And then now we have students that are taking classes in sales. So I love it when you say
I think it's fantastic.
Well,
look, I was at 100% commission sales. Now, look, my wife's a doctor, and very successful doctor. So I was able to take a position like that, because of it. But it's funny. I was in this franchise show this week, and it's a primarily franchisor based conference. It's called the Unconference.
Yeah.
And It's basically a networking event that's put on by a law firm and a PR firm. And I met the guys that before COVID, and I met them skiing in Park City, Utah, and that's where the show is. And they said, hey, we're going to let a couple franchisees come. But it's been a great thing because I get to see it from the different side of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now that I bought this business last week, that was a franchise that went under. Who knows? I may end up as a franchisor one day.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the good thing is I think that it's interesting, and I just thought of this as I'm sitting here. The best franchisors are the ones that start as franchisees.
Yeah. It's interesting. They have that.
I didn't say that, but I should have said that. You know, that I think that the best franchisors are the ones that start as franchisees because they know the struggles.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, great stuff. And if we can be of any help to you with that, we've got a bunch of really exciting student initiatives going on. And Vinny's modest, but I'm like you. I'm a big believer in surrounding yourself with great people. So he's the brains behind putting everything behind this podcast. He's brilliant. And so we'll definitely plan for you to come out for sure and have a day around it, and love to stay engaged, my friend.
No, listen, I really appreciate it. It's been great. Thank you so much.
All right, Jeff, take care.
Thank you, Jeff.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Stars of Franchising.
Stars of Franchising was produced at Babson College, engineered by Travis Gray. Karen Soa is our guest coordinator, and music by Ralph Taylor.
If you like Stars of Franchising, be sure to review us wherever you get your podcasts, and spread the word and share these stories any way you can.